I will honour Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol. Hi, I'm Carrie from the Junk Journal and Bramble Society. Hello, so today I am going to make some of these. So I thought I'd make a couple of tags and then a couple of journal toppers. These are quite big journal toppers depending on the size of the journals that you make, but I will tell you the sizes of the bases that I'm going to use. So the main feature of these are the Hessian with the stencil on. After I finished filming this video, I realised that the toppers would be perfect for Christmas cards. They will be on the larger side, and if you were wanting to make them smaller, that would work as well. But I like making A5 cards for my family. So I'm going to be taking these toppers that I've made and just stick them down on a folded A4 piece of card, and I'm going to be using them as my Christmas cards for this year. I was on one of my cheapy shop runs recently, and I went into Poundland, and I didn't find a lot in Poundland actually, but I did find this Christmas ribbon which sparked an idea for me. It's Hessian, but then it's got this lovely snowflake print on in white, and I do quite like the natural Christmas look, so I thought, why not give that a go? So I bought some Hessian. I bought a big roll. I think it's about 10 meters for about £10 from Amazon. If you are struggling to get Hessian, I do know that sometimes they have Hessian sacks in some of the household stores that are sold like Christmas sacks. So if you're struggling to source them, you could perhaps look in some of their sort of household shops like One Beyond. I've found some really cool One Beyond stuff recently, so I'm probably going to do a separate video on the stuff that I've picked up there to use in crafting. So that's where my inspiration came from, these items, and the main element is the Hessian with the white stencils on. So I'll just move these out the way and then we'll get started. So these are the bases that I've prepared. So this tag is 8 centimeters by 17. This tag is 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters. This cardboard base is just this was actually an Amazon cardboard box, and I've just stripped the top off. So this topper is 12 by 14. I mean, you could make these any sizes, to be honest, but this is what I've just decided upon randomly. So this topper, that was 12 by 14, and this topper is 13 by 15. This is actually some Tim Holtz Christmas paper. I love the tartan, love the red tartan for Christmas. So there you go. You can, as I said, you don't have to use this exact, but these are the bases that I've selected today to use. Also, I've done quite a bit of preparation for this video, so hopefully it won't be too long. I've prepared a load of Hessian squares. These are 10 centimeters by 11 centimeters. I will probably end up making these smaller and cutting them down, but before I put the stencils on, I just wanted to make sure that I've got enough space for the stencils that I'm going to be using. So what else will you need? I've got a load of background paper. I've been recently making some more painty paper. I've made some Christmas painty paper, so I've got some background paper like that. I've got some music score paper. I've got some Tim Holtz, it's like tissue paper, but it's called collage paper in Christmas Noel. I have got this huge book of origami. It's actually origami paper, but I use it in my craftings. It's lightweight, but it's you get such a big wodge, and this was £5. This was from The Works. It's got some lovely Christmas designs with all the different colours. So if I get stuck, I've got that. I've got some distress ink. I've got some PVA glue, which I use for the gluing down the Hessian. I've got my glitter glue. I've also prepared some die cuts because they're quite faffy to do, so I've got them ready. I've got some other die cuts, some green and red. I've got some labels that I've just quickly made on the computer. I actually printed this out on normal printer paper and then backed it with some card and then cut them out. I've got some labels that I made with some stamps and then some more labels that I did on the computer. I've got some ribbon for maybe tag toppers. I've got these. So these are the, I'm just going to choose a couple of these. The best ones are like, so that worked well. This works well. Some of them which are a bit more detail don't work so well when you're using the paint. So I think I'll leave those. Yeah, I'm going to use these three. These were the ones that worked out the best. But also these are nice and nicely themed. I've got some ribbon. Might use that. Yep, I think, and all the other usual crafting things like rulers, and got my cutter. So we'll make a start and get on with it. I put some paper down to protect my cutting board because it will seep through the Hessian when you put in the paint on. So the paint I've got a little tub here that's actually got a lid, so if I don't use it all then I'm not going to waste it. It's just a really basic white acrylic paint. So I've got this chunky bristle brush. You can actually get proper stenciling brushes which work better. They're sort of shorter and cut off, but this is sort of like the best I've got. It's it's quite a bristly hard brush. So you just take the stencil on top of the Hessian and sort of, I guess, the middle, and then take some, try not to get too much on the brush, and then you're just going to start trying to sort of dab it into through the stencil and onto the Hessian. It's best if you can be a little bit patient with this, so that if you start going like that, it's all going to run and get underneath and you won't get the crisp lines. So if you take your time with this, and you want to sort of build up a good coverage as well. Now I only did one coat, which seemed to work for me because this acrylic is quite thick, but I'm sure, if you wanted to go and do a second coat, then you might get a even brighter result. Just dab, dab, dab. Hope you can see what I'm doing. You have to kind of go right, like at a right angle to the Hessian. There we go. Right, let's have a look at the results. There you go. That's quite a nice crisp one. As it dries, the lines get more distinct as well, which is good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the film off now, and I'm just going to do the stencils images on all the Hessian, then I'll bring you back. So these are what they look like when I've done the painting. It is quite messy, so make sure that you're protecting everything quite well. If I didn't mention before, this was £1 from Poundland, but you want to get these cleaned off as soon as you can as well, just so that you don't want to give the acrylic time to dry. It's a lot easier to get it off when it's still wet rather than wait until it dries, and then it becomes a bit more tricky on the plastic. So get those cleaned off as soon as you can. So just while the Hessian's still drying a bit on the side, I'm going to start prepping the bases. So with the last long thin one, I use some of my printy paper, and then use some doily on the edges, some green doily. So what have I already used? I've used some tartan and some music. So I've decided I'm going to use some of this. This was some paint paper that I've then photocopied because I wanted to keep the originals because I love them so much. It's sad, isn't it? I've got some inspiration. So I'm just going to cover actually, I've got my little gift card that I've cut the corners off so that I can get some, when I'm making tags, I can get equal corners. Do I want that one, or do I want a smaller one? Reverse it. Do the other side. Right, so I have to decide whether I want it to cover all of it or just like a section of it. did I do last time? So last time I covered all of it. I might do it shorter this time, not go right to the top as well. So don't think I've got a straight edge on this. Let me get a straight edge. I cut these out with the scissors, so always best if you start with some straight edges and then you know what you're doing. I've got my corner, so I'm thinking maybe here, and how high I don't want it. It's got about here. It's great being a crafter because you can have an excuse to start doing Christmassy things a lot earlier. There we go. So this painted paper was just some book page, and then I went over it with some different green sort of dry brushing slightly so that you can still see through it. And then I went over it with a star stencil and then did some gold drips on it. I might have to do a video at some point about doing painted papers because I'm really into it at the minute. There we go. I think I'm happy with that. Ooh, where are you? It's here. I did quite a few with the Hessian squares with the prints on because I think I like to make all my own Christmas cards, so I think that's the design that I'm going to be going for this year. I'm going to be really organised if I do them now really early. There we go. So I realised that I preempted that and I've actually glued it down. So there's two ways of doing it. It doesn't matter. One way of, when I did this one, I glued and sewed the Hessian down on the paper by itself, and then I went in with the sewing machine, but I actually think my sewing machine would prefer it with something a bit thicker behind it, so it'll probably work better. But also then you will get the lines on the back, but then I'm going to cover it with just some coffee dyed paper anyway, so you won't actually see I'm using quite thin thread, so you won't see it once it's on the back. That's that. That's the first base done. This is the second base. This is a bit chunkier. So I've got a tartan background that I'm doing. For the second, this tag here, I've decided I'm going to use some of this paper. So what's it doing? Something a bit different. It's quite nice. It's got the red. Just looking at my... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the navy, which is... It's actually really lovely with white. I was wanting to buy some navy card because I fancied doing some navy and white Christmas themed something or other. Not quite sure what, but the colour, I get inspired by colour combinations. And then I get, I really feel like I need to do something in that colour. So a lot of people ask, I've noticed on YouTube, a lot of people ask the YouTubers where they get the creativity and ideas and inspiration from. Colours inspire me, and the different combinations of colour is something that inspires me. And texture as well. I like texture. That's something I like about paper crafting. You get the texture. So what I'm going to do before I start thinking about gluing down, I'm going to do some the corners for the tag. Do the two corners. There we go. And then I think with this one I'm going to cover the whole of the tag. I really like this pattern, so I need to cut it down a little bit. I do use my my Tim Holtz cutter a lot. I always have it next to me. It's one of those, I was trying to think of like the other day of what are my favourite crafting tools. I'd definitely have to say, yeah, I just put some little marks where it doesn't have to be exact, where I put the little corners. There we go. And again, because this is quite thin, I'll probably stick this down, so I'll sew through the cardboard and the paper. Take the Yoo-hoo. As I was saying, yes, the cutter is one of my favourite tools. Yeah, using it. A good pair of scissors as well. And I know it's really expensive, but I love the glitter glue. It is really good. So I have a small bottle, but then I invested in one of the large bottles, and yeah, it feels like a lot of money to spend on glue, but I think I've only used about, I think I've had about 2-3 years, and I feel like I've only used about a third of it. So when I think of it a bit like that, and I mean I get through Yoo-hoo sticks, I've probably spent more on Yoo-hoo glue than I have on the glitter glue in the last couple of years, so something to think about. So they're the two of the bases. Right, yes, so it was these two. So what I'd like to make another one like this, where I've got the two. It's quite nice to have it quite thick, because if it's going on the front of a journal. These would have to be glued down, because they're really fragile, and they're likely to be spoiled if they're coming in and out of a bookshelf. Anyway, so I've used 2 layers of the corrugated cardboard. So I think I'd like to do that again on here. Some cracks. And I'm going to have this in the opposite direction of the first layer. You don't need the cutters for this, because it's kind of like to keep it a bit rough and ready. It adds to the look. Do it to about there, shall we? There we go. You can actually squish these down a bit. I might do that on the bottom one. It's amazing when you're filming and you're trying to do a tutorial. It's amazing what you miss, and you look back in your video and you're like, why didn't I see that? I'm all right with this, I think. Right, okay, so that's going to be the first topper. Do I want to put something under here? Do I want another layer? What I did try to do is challenge myself just to use the craft colour of the cardboard and keep it quite white and neutral, because I always struggle to do that. I do love colour, so I might try and do that again. Do I want to go around the edges? I think I will do. I'm going to go around the edges. I'm just going to get some paper to put down on my desktop. Right, so I've got another bristly brush, just a smaller one this time, that I'm going to use to put the paint on. Go back to my little tub. Get a good coating on the bristles. Famous last words, trying to not be messy. I'm not going to make the layer too thick, because I want it to dry quite quickly. There we go, so dry brushing. Turn it round. There we go. That one. I'm just going to try and do a really thin layer on here. Just thinking, do I want to do this same method on the tartan? I recently bought some white ink. I got it in the Versacolour, the pigment ink. Which it does work. I'll show you. I don't know whether you can pick it up. So it does work on the craft paper, but it's just not as white as I would have liked. It's nice, it's effective, it's pretty. So do I want to do this? Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. So this is the last base, and it's the other topper. Rustic woodland winter wonderland effect. There we go. Right, so these need to, I'll leave these dry and then I'll come back. So I've decided on the tartan journal topper that I'm going to use some music. And I've gone for that because I wanted it to be white rather than I've got loads of like the vintagey creamy colour, but I feel the white just looks better on the white background rather than the cream. It makes it pop more. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just glue this down. There we go. Right, so this is what we've got so far. It's topper 1, tag 1, tag 2, and topper 2. Now I need to decide whether I'm going to put the Hessian straight on top of these. So I associate tartan with Scotland and deers. We actually do get deers near where I live, but there's something about the deer symbol that reminds me of Scotland, so I'm going to put that one on there. And then we've got the 3 other ones are just snowflakes, so I'll just randomly put those on there. We are going to cut these down. I'll show you how I do that in a minute. I think I'm going to try and keep it simple. So we've got the 3 elements. We've got the base, got the background and the Hessian. And then I might decorate further with some die cuts and labels and things. So I'm going to show you how I attach the Hessian and sort of size it correctly. So with the Hessian, you have to be quite careful that it doesn't all fall apart. But I'm going to just gradually take out the strands, the extra strands. Don't want to get too close to the edge of the stencil. Just gradually reduce it. So I sort of check with the one more go on this side. Let's take this one out, I think. So what I'm doing really roughly is just sort of counting how many strings are left after the end of the stencil. So like here it's got the 2 strings, so we leave that there, and then there's 2 strings here. I think, how many have I got there? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I'm kind of happy with that size. This is the messy bit. Take some paper. This is still a bit wet, so I'm trying to be careful. So, and then I just cut these down with my fabric scissors. Try and get it on the paper because it's not very nice stuff. Try and neaten it up so that it... What else do we think that's really cool? Just a little bit more there. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's the lovely thing about working with materials like Hessian. It's supposed to look rough and ready. So there we go. I think, yeah, I'm happy with that. Look at this. Put that in the bin. Right, I'm pretty sure it's dry now. Just have to be a bit careful with it still. Right, so then I get some glue paper, turn it over. This is when I use the PVA. I've got a fairly new bottle of the tacky glue, so what I'm doing is just running a bead. I try to get it on the end strings, like so. And just put a little bit in the middle. It doesn't have to be a lot because you're going to be, I mean, I'm going to be sewing these down. You don't have to sew it down. The PVA will hold it absolutely fine. And try and get the bead to go all around the edge, and then it catches. It won't unravel on you. So then, there we go. Try and get it sort of. Do I want it in the middle? Get pretty central. Take some glue and sort of push it down. You can see that the minute that you can see the PVA glue, but that dries all clear. And you can see the stencil more. There we go. That's the first one. So what I'm going to do exact same process to the rest of them, and then I'll come back. So as you can see, I have glued all the Hessian down on the 4 different bases. So now I need to let this dry. I need to let this dry properly and not get impatient, because my sewing machine won't like it if I'm trying to sew on wet PVA. So you need to give it a really good dry. So I will, once I've let it dry, and I'm going to go around it twice. I've just got some green thread in, so that's what I'll use, just in a straight stitch. Right, so the Hessian has dried, and I have gone around it, each of them twice on the sewing machine. So yeah, just gone around twice like that. You don't need to do that, I just felt like doing it. So the next thing is to take them one by one, then decorate them. So I think I'm probably going to start with the green tag. So with the green tag, I hadn't put any lace on any of the others, so I've just got this little bit of ruffled lace. It is slightly cream, but once you get it down, I don't think you can tell that it's not white. So I'm gonna, I haven't actually got any Fab-Attack at the minute. I've been trying to get some new Fab-Attack. So I'm just using my normal tacky PVA, Anita's tacky glue. That looks pretty. So I'm thinking, do I want to put a tag? I might not put a label on this one. I'll keep this one without. So do I want to do tag top using this? Yeah, I think I will do. So cut off length. Oh, not using my fabric scissors. This is about 6 centimetres. So I'm just going to take a little bit of Gotto glue. Actually, no, I'm going to use just a little bit of PVA. Just want to put the tiniest little bit along there. And turn it over. Come on. There we go. There we go. Right, I'm going to get my stapler. And I've got some nice, these are nice bronze coloured staples. There we go. I'll just hold it in place while it's drying. I think it needs something up here. A bit shiny. I'm not really into a lot of glitter and sparkles. For Christmas, I don't mind a little bit. Especially, I quite like the contrast of the natural burlap and the glitter. It's a nice bit of texture. Do I want some holly like that? Quite like that. I only got a few white die cuts left. There's a silver one. Don't like that, or is that a bit too? I might go for that. Go for a bit of silver. Again, I'm gonna obviously into my Anita's tacker glue today. Some days I favour the not glitter glue, but obviously today it's the tacky glue. Always got a bit of always have a bit of kitchen roll to hand. There we go. The only problem when you've using a really shiny card is that if you get any glue on it, it can really shows up. It's better just to leave it dry and stop faffing with it. The more faff with it, the more you can get on. I think I'll leave that like that. I think it's quite fussy with the lace and the silver, so I'll leave that one. That's one done. Right, with this one, I definitely want to go with the red. Let's have a look. So I've had this, thought about this. Yeah, like that. I've got any more. I definitely want to use those. That really combines well with the paper. What do I want to use as tab? Where's my Christmas ribbon? So I've got this. I got this absolutely ages ago. £3 for 25 metres. What a bargain. And then this one. Will that work? That might work. Yeah, that might be interesting. Let's try that. Get the right scissors. I'll just get a bit of this just in case it doesn't work. I've got quite a few other Christmas ribbons, but they're quite thick. I got them all in a sale. I need to start using them though. I've had them a long time. Had them in the stash a long time. Right, how am I going to glue this? Because it's like, I think it's going to have to be a staple again. A bit small, I think. I don't want it to be dangling too much off the edge because make it more vulnerable to come off. Yeah, like that. Take the PVA again. A little bit. Oh, that's really wonky. There we go. Just take those off for now. I'll definitely be using my art glitter glue for those. I've got to put some backings on these tags, but that won't take a sec. There we go, like that. Now I have got some of these are, I think they're called envelope seals, but the little Merry Christmas stickers, but they're in red. Might be cute to put. Not there, I don't think, but yeah. These are really sticky because there we go, like that. And now these, I need to get some glue paper. I don't think I need all three, that'd be a bit too much. Yeah, I've managed to get one on the top and the bottom. Just put that to the side. Right. Right, here we go. It's really fiddly, this, with all the little bits. Right, let's try again. Put dot on all the berries and the leaves, and a little bit on the stalk. Is that what you call them? Right. So, I'm just pressing all the berries down now. Really goes well with this paper, goes really well with the ribbon. A bit tricky on the Hessian. It does stick eventually. So push it down. There we go. And now the other one. There we go. And then this is going to go down here somewhere. There we go. I'm happy with the placement there. I think I'm going to leave that one like that. Squidge, squidge. There we go. There we go. So that's tag number 2 down. So this is one of the journal toppers. I do love the tartan. I think I want to put a label on this one. Dreaming of a White Christmas. It's quite nice. I've got these green die cuts. These die cuts are from a Tim Holtz one. I think it's my only Tim Holtz die. Right, I think I've decided. So I move these around a little bit, and I decided to quite like them up there. They look a bit like I'm not going to be able to remember the name. A garland. So then I've got some little berries, little red berries in here. This is going to be tricky. Tricky dicky. Second one. I just want to apologise if my energy is coming off as quite low today, because it is. I don't know whether it's the change in the... I've had quite a busy weekend, so it could be just that. But the change in the clocks always takes me a little bit to adjust. And it's been a really dark day as well, actually, so that probably isn't helping. Hasn't really got properly light at all. So there we go. Just pop that down. And then the last little touches. There we go. I'm going to leave those bits on, I think, because it's quite nice to have them hanging over. So that's topper 1 done. Right, for the last one. So this is the one that I want to put the snowflakes on. Got this pile of snowflakes. Some of them are silver sparkly. Some of them are just like plain silver. Some of them aren't a full one because I was using up paper, and you know, if you're going to tuck things inside, then like this, you don't need it to be full. Disguise the bit that's not full. Got some sparkly white and some plain white. This is the bit where you try not to be uniform. I might have like 2 blobs, one blob there and one blob there, but you have to try and get it. I don't want it hanging too far out. Do I want to put something green on it? I've got green bow. Oh, I kind of like that. Just the pop of colour. See, I'm struggling to keep the colour off. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to do. There we go. just because I want a bit of a thicker amount. What do you call it? A bead, a bigger bead. I'm using the PVA. Just one more bit of glue in and then I think we're done. Again, I'm going to use the PVA just. I struggle using the art glitter glue on material. Doesn't seem to work for me. See other people using it, but there we go. Right, I'm going to get them all out to show you. That's top of one, top of two. It's quite plain, I feel it's like that, but still quite like it. Tag 1 and tag 2. There we go. I've really enjoyed using the Hessian and the stencils, just with that white. It's so simple, but it's such an effective look, I think personally. So yeah, that's just inspired from this. Now, you could actually just use this, I suppose, if you wanted to cut it down. There's nothing stopping you from using this on a tag. I might try that. But something else I was thinking was just a little something, a bit of an alternative to this. Is that I do have so for example, I'd bought this and put it in my craft. Bought this felt gingerbread person. And I was thinking you could use that as a journal topper on that bit of Hessian. That would look really good. And I've got this. Now this came from a garland that I got from One Beyond last year. So I've got several of these because it was, I think probably got about 10, and it was only about £2 for the pack. Might have been less, wasn't a lot. I was thinking that would look really nice. I mean, obviously you'd have to disguise the holes somehow, but it's got it's wood and it's got a back that would glue down nicely. Yeah, so just a little bit of Hessian in the background. Works really well for the Christmas look, I think. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it'll be a short one, just because my last one was quite a long one. Hopefully keeping it short. I have been working on a longer video that involves using old gift wrapping items. So I've had loads of gift bags that I've had for years and years in my Christmas box, and I just decided that I just wanted to use them up and get rid of them because they were taking up quite a large space. So that's going to be the next video. So the videos are going to be Christmas themed, I think, unless I feel like I need a break from it. But I do like a festive. I do like the festive mood and getting cozy and being inspired by all the colours combinations. So take care of yourselves, and hopefully I shall see you soon. Bye bye. Bye bye.